Melissa. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
All right, yeah. Getting to the final furlong in the festival, so it's gonna be crazy this week. The amount of work involved.
Yeah,
So yeah, thanks for coming on the podcast.
no problem. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. Yeah, we've been talking to. I think you're our 30th guest now, which is great.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah?
we've only released, I think it's 10 episodes so far. We've got Mark Brownbacker on Saturday, and then we're going to have a gap because obviously it's the awards a week on Saturday, and yeah, it's been a crazy process so far.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So how did you kind of come up with your idea for no one's going to pay for your screams? Is that right?
No one's paying for your screams. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
Um, I came up with that very randomly. It was actually in a stint of like 2 weeks of watching every horror movie on
This
Netflix.
this this is how we're going to be friends. You see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, isolation was starting to get to me around this time, and I was looking for, like an adrenaline rush. And I remember the first night that I was like, you know what, I'm going to sit down and watch a scary movie alone, which is something I don't normally do. And it turned into like just 2 weeks straight of all day long watching horror movies.
Was that initially for to get the kind of to enjoy? Is it something you really enjoy, or was it to kind of get? I'm going to try and figure out a film. Was it just purely entertainment?
No, I was just looking for an adrenaline rush. I was very bored, and yeah, I really think it was just I was just trying to like get excited.
Yeah. So,
Um,
so
I
what
could
kind of films were you watching? Uh, like
um, the first one I dove into is The Shining.
nice, not the TV movie, no.
No, no, no. The good old Jack Nicholson one. But yeah, that's one of my favorite films ever. I'm a big
Yeah,
Cuban fan, and it just kind of snowballed into everything else. Yeah.
yeah. He's probably the greatest or one of the greatest filmmakers ever. He's definitely one of the greatest filmmakers ever because he kind of crosses all genres from noir to horror to comedy with Strange Love and all of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely one of the greatest. I've got some original posters of his, which are in a where I previously lived. So they're in like storage because I used to collect them over the last 20 years now. So I've gotten them from all over. So I've got um the what's it called? Oh my god, Clockwork Orange, Eyes Wide Shut. I love the Eyes Wide Shut one because it's a close up of I can't remember her name, Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise. It's kind of really nice with the purple. It's really rich. So yeah, I've been but collecting the earlier ones for Kubrick is super expensive. Um,
I could
is
imagine. Yeah.
is The Shining your favorite of his?
Yes.
Yeah, it is one of the greatest, and there's certain moments in that. And did you watch Ready Player One by any chance? The Spielberg film.
No.
There's a scene in that. Kind of, I'm gonna mention it. There's a scene in that where it's like trying to find out this mystery that's going on within this huge kind of online game, and they recreate the scene with The Shining, the typewriter. So
Okay.
these avatars in the game go into the scene, but the scene looks real, and it's even if you just watch that, if you Google that later and watch that, you'll love it because it just reminds you how much you love The Shining. And one of the characters in the film has never seen The Shining, and then they go into the room with the lady in the bath. It's hilarious. So it's super well recreated. It looks real, but it's not. It's all CG. It's yeah, it's something special. That yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna check that out for sure.
I just wanted to say congrats on the film.
Thank
Really
you.
enjoyed it, and there's some real striking influences on it. And one of my personal favorite, it's like an early game with Resident Evil. Like if you watch a couple of the first games, the camera choices you make, the angles, the shot in the mirror, the tone of the music, it's like, oh wow, this is kind of really strong influence in a really positive way. Not the terrible new movies, but the game itself.
Yeah.
So how long can
That's
you?
fun. I used to play that game when I was younger with my brother. Yeah. And I remember us just like, it would scare the crap out of us. We would
Yeah,
watch it or we would play it with the lights off. And
because it had those fixed angles, and then the terror would happen, but the camera angle would never change, which is no real game now does that. It's usually adapts to the character. And what I liked about your film is it's kind of those fixed, scary little angles, and especially the mirror shot in your film, because I was thinking, I was thinking really far out in terms of horror, going, is her head going to explode? Is there going to be more teeth that appear or something? That's the kind of vibe, and it's really quite a scary shot. So how long can you tell me a little bit about the process? How long did it take to make? What did you shoot on? That kind of thing.
well, I shot it on my cell phone. And my goal really was to just use as minimal equipment as I possibly could, just to see if I could do it.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I really appreciate that you like the imagery in it, because I sort of woke up one morning with these very strong images in my mind that I knew I wanted to get.
Yeah.
And for me, some of the scariest techniques or like things that people do in movies is that sort of like somber, soft music in the background, but really like static imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the camera. So I wanted to do that. So I kind of went into it knowing what I was going to do, but you know, I went pretty like Robert Rodriguez with it. I had like my cell phone taped to my door at one point, and like the tape was giving out, so I had like a good like 2 minutes before I could
Yeah.
like to get the shot. But yeah, I filmed most of it in one day, and then I thought I was finished. I edited it, and I was pretty happy with it. And then a few days later, I woke up with like a very strong image of the eye in the keyhole.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. I love what you did with the sound as well.
Thank you.
And it was kind of a bit. It was. It wasn't. It wasn't obvious what you did with the sound. Do you know what I mean? It's not so. It's not predictable, which I like quite a lot. And because it connected with me so much with when we used to play Resident Evil, it just had that really sinister vibe. And was it like stock music you found online?
Yeah, a ton of stock music.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it worked a treat. And it, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it's great hearing. This is one of the reasons I started the podcast to go alongside the festival, was to hear about how people made their film, and to give other young inspiring actors an opportunity to see how others make their films, because so many people think they can't make a feature film. But I keep going back to Steven Soderbergh, who made Unsane with Claire Foy about an insane asylum, and I think she's committed in it, and it's all shot on an iPhone with a different like a lens gear with this lens. This is an anamorphic lens for an iPhone, and that's one of the reasons I bought it, because I wanted to experiment with that, because it's super adaptable. You can take it anywhere, use it for any kind of shot. And yeah, it's really nice to hear that it was a relatively simple process as well, because as you know, with behind the scenes or whatever, it can be super complicated as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been telling myself a lot, like if I just had this, I would make this movie. Or if I just, it was always like a what if, or if I had, and that was the point. Like, that's why I'm so grateful that you guys actually did this, was because we're stuck at home anyways. We don't have much to like use.
Yeah.
So it was a really great opportunity to just like kind of put my money where my mouth is and do it.
Is this something you've always wanted to, based on your Instagram, you're very creative with your artwork and music and that kind of thing. Is it something you've always wanted to do, but not really have the time, but now it's kind of a forced situation where you do have the time?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I work as an actor in the city, but filmmaking was, this was new to me. And what I love is just telling stories, whether it's like with music or with you know, drawing, any kind of art. I just want to, yeah, I just want to tell stories. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Why I spoke to another actress a couple of days ago, and almost one of the reasons, not one of the reasons, but the added benefit of shooting your own content is it's great for showreel as well. And you can grab some great stills from your films. Like I had a little look at your IMDb, and the choice of photo you used from the film behind the door, I think it's really a fun one. It's almost like that's kind of the iconic shot for the poster kind of thing.
Right. That's so
So
awesome. Thank you.
no, absolutely. Like we've had so many good filmmakers, and I really enjoyed what you did. And tonally, I would say it's very different to most of the films in the same genre that we received, because we've had scary, really kind of brutal horror films as well. And you'll see at least a single shot of every single film at the weekend next weekend, because we're doing obviously our big event. And I kind of like that somber, quieter, the thing you mentioned, the pacing of it. And that was the thing about The Shining, isn't it? It's not super visceral, where it's super brutal all the time and quickly cut. I like those static shots. But the tricky thing with those static shots, which you achieved, is telling enough story and the conviction. You don't need flashy editing, because most people that make a film, sometimes they cut away too quickly. They don't linger on the subject long enough. Like the shot of you in the mirror. Do you know John Carpenter? You
No.
know, he directed Halloween, The
Oh,
Thing. He's absolutely amazing, like an 80s icon. And there's a film called Prince of Darkness, and it's about this cylinder that's awoken in the basement of this church, and this scientific group's brought in to study it, and there's evil things that go on, and it's about the devil, and that it's really, really good film. And there's a shot of a guy at the very end. It's not a spoiler, and it's all about crossing over and bringing this demon across, but through this mirror, but it like turns to liquid. And there's a couple of shots in the film. When I watched yours, I was going, "Oh yeah, that reminds me of Prince of Darkness. That's awesome." Because there's something, you don't have to do anything kind of crazy, like your head doesn't split open or extra teeth appear or anything like that.
hmm.
It's there's something quite almost kind of scary just about that. And it might have been a relatively simple setup lighting wise, but that lighting worked really well. Was that kind of a simple process as well?
Yeah. The lighting was what I was most nervous about. Um, but yeah, that was fixed in editing, and like that's the beauty of horror too, is like you can kind of play with the color schemes and get
Yeah.
away with it a little bit. Yeah. So there's some saturation on those.
Oh no, yeah, it's like I think that worked really well, and the palette, the color, it's kind of like this purpley blue in the film. I absolutely love that. So yeah, it kind of, I'm a huge horror fan, massive, and especially over the last few weeks, speaking to fine people like yourself, uh, I always ask people, always creeps into conversation horror, and like a couple of nights ago, I ended up watching Hellraiser based on speaking to someone.
I
So
saw
it's
that.
yeah, so it's crazy. Oh yeah, did you see that picture, the social media picture of Hellraiser that I had?
Yeah.
Because I ended up having a pizza coma during it as well. So I ordered pizza, and when it arrived, I thought I hadn't had it in ages, and it was like really doughy. It was really nice, Papa John's, but oh my god, I was in like, it was like something had really struck me. So yeah, that was a pretty bad experience, especially when you're watching that body horror. Um, so did you kind of submit this to the ISFF as well?
No. So I submitted a comedy to that one.
Oh,
Uh,
what's that called?
that one is called Blow Me, and it's a story of a woman who falls in love with her blow dryer during isolation because it keeps her warm.
That's
Uh,
great. I love that. I love that.
and that one was way more simple. I shot it in black and white. I threw a voiceover on top of it so I didn't have to worry about sound. And
Yeah.
I submitted that actually before like Cineplex and everybody got involved in the festival. So part of me was a little bit like, oh God, my filmmaking debut is going to be this,
Yeah.
this like joke that I made pretty much, but it did inspire me to try to play a little bit more with this one. So yeah, with this one, I was really, I wanted to play with camera angles. I wanted to play with sound. I wanted to test myself a little bit more. So
Yeah.
yeah, these festivals have been an absolute treat.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to be part of. I've kind of it's built nice to speak to yourself and a lot of other filmmakers because it builds this kind of community between us all. And it's we've had a real cross section of films. We've had really personal stories about. I'll give an example. There's a film called I think it's Mothers, and it's about a woman that returns to work in London. She works for a big TV company, but that's just the backstory. But the actual film's about her having a baby in isolation, like at her first baby. And it's only a minute long, but it's super strong and the subject matter. And like your film, it's really simply shot, but you kind of get the most out of that. That's it. That's the beauty of it. If you create something simple, you can get something really strong out of it as long as your content's great. You know what I mean? So, and we've had animations, stop animations from 9, 10-year-olds. We've had places from Tel Aviv, uh, Scandinavia, Australia, New Zealand, Colombia, US. We've had them from all over now, so it's been a lot of fun as well. And we've had some exceptional. We've got 3 great guest judges. Now, 2 of them we've announced. We've announced Nerd OD, who's doing the Comedy Award. It's kind of a relatively small podcast in the UK, but they go to a lot of these conventions and comic book things and interview actors and actresses there and filmmakers. So they've got a really nice bank of content, and they do a podcast each week. And they talk about like mega nerd stuff, which I absolutely love. And the other 2, I don't know if you've seen them. Vance Burberry, the music video cinematographer.
Yeah.
He's an absolute dude. He's loving this process as well, and he was super thankful for being part of it. And I was like, Vance, you've done us a massive favor. He sent me his show reel. It was a 5 gig 4K file, and the little snippet I did of the actual show reel. It's only a small sample of what he's done, who he's worked with, because he's worked with Celine Dion, just Alice Cooper. There's so many other people he's worked with that it's not even on the show reel.
Yeah, so cool.
So it's like Guns N' Roses blew my mind. The fact he did Sweet Child of Mine as well. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. He's telling me about the production of that. So we're going to release the podcast this week of his interview, which is very cool. And then I'll tell you who the new judge is. The new judge is for Best Film, and it's a company called Directors Duo. Now, when you Google Directors Duo, their content is unreal, and they did a single scene in Ant-Man, the Marvel film, about Yellow Jacket, which is the evil character, and it's a CGI scene just about how this suit's going to be used for this company. And they did the entire scene. They worked with Kevin Feige and Marvel, and it's just 2 dudes from Munich, but they're exceptionally talented, and they're currently working on an advert for BMW and Mercedes. So it's like unreal. I just sent them a message out of the blue on Instagram saying, would you be interested in being part of this? I said, yeah, what do we need to do? So, well, would you pick from our top 5? Because the 3 of us in our team have picked. It was really difficult. I will tell you that. It was exceptionally difficult. We did a scoring system, a really complex scoring system for everything. Some of them, it's really tricky. And we spent 4.5 hours talking about it yesterday. So it was, that's the beauty of Zoom. We can, spend that time on it. But we've picked I think some very good films, and we're so super appreciative to, yourself, Melissa, and many other people, because we had over 105 submissions in the end. And for a festival that has no huge Cineplex backing or anything like that, we're super proud of that. We initially thought we were going to get 20 films. So the admin's been absolutely crazy. I've sent hundreds of emails now, but it's been a joy though, because then I wanted to have the kind of personal touch, and it's not fake in any way, because I want people to feel as though they've been listened to, and it's, you know, I know when I started in isolation initially, the first week or so, it was really difficult for me because I'm so used to working with so many people. But how did you kind of find isolation yourself?
Um, it's been a ride. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. I definitely, when it first started, I was trying to think of all the positives of it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I can be productive, and I can work on, you know, all these personal projects. And then like a couple weeks later, I was like, oh God, what am I doing with my life? So yeah, there's been some extreme like highs and lows. And like yourself, like I'm used to being very busy. I'm used to being around people all the time. Um, so it's been a process, but it's lightening up now here in Toronto.
Yeah,
Um,
the
yeah, we.
the sh- the the joy of connecting with so many people, especially in Canada, because we've had so many good films from Canada, and uh, Toronto is the kind of the main crux of it. Is the how amazing Toronto is in terms of the city itself, and like the views, the things to do. Like Danielle LeBlanc, who's on the podcast recently, she's an actress based in Toronto, and like just seeing little moments in people's, you know, people being able to finally go out, that kind of thing, because there's so many people that aren't in a position where they can go out there with a family in a small flat or something like that. So it's, you know, they must have had it really bad. Um, and I felt very lucky that I've got a bit of space. We're having our floors done at the moment, but I've got a little bit of space to kind of, you know, kind of occupy myself in. And I stepped out in the rain earlier because I hadn't been outside all day because I've been working all day. And I
Hmm.
thought, right, I've got to feel something outside now, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it was like that moment in the Shawshank Redemption. That's how that's how you feel, freedom, you know. I've got this image that when,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if there's any kind of end to the coronavirus or lockdown, especially, there's like the end scene in Braveheart when he screams freedom. That's how I'm gonna feel, you know. So it's
Face painted and all.
exactly, yeah. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you a couple of the films,
Oh yeah. Okay.
and I might show you one from Canada, but I'll try and shift it a little bit. So I'll show you the comedy from Tel Aviv. Okay, let me find that. It's the title is incredibly clever, by the way. It's Quran cheating. It's like what it sounds like, quarantine cheating. It's very funny. Right, where are
Nice.
we? Okay, let's find that. But making sure I've got everyone's film and doing them justice. It's pickled my brain.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
I appreciate that. Okay, so let's full screen that. Oh, this is good, yeah. So we're designing a few posters, and I'm not sure if you've seen much of that. So your film's been chosen to be part of this group. It's a little secret, but there's a pool of 40 posters. We've had exceptional people involved, and it was being really difficult. Initially, we wanted every single poster designed, but I was asking a lot of these two designers to do for nothing. And so I thought, right, let's do a limited run, and I'll figure out something else I can do for anyone else. But your film's been picked as one of the 40.
That's
So
amazing.
it's two designers based in Cornwall, and they're exceptionally talented. So what they do is they take a single element from the film. So for yours, it could be the keyhole with the eye. That's a good one. I like that. And then they do that, and then they add the graphics with your name and the festival laurel. And we're going to send that at least in a PDF online or possibly printed as well. And I'll show you what the example posters look like if you've not seen those.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you.
That's all right, because basically all the horror films got a poster, or the kind of thriller type, you know, scary ones.
Right on.
Because you know that's the thing I love about film is you want it to. Let me just close that. You want it to invoke a feeling or an emotion, and I love that. And horror for me, like 10, 15 years ago, I wasn't the biggest horror fan, but now I'm like knee deep in watching horror, you know. So share computer sound, screen one. Okay, Melissa, can you see this black screen?
I can, yeah.
יאיר! יאיר!
ממי, מה את עושה פה?
באתי לראות את הפרצוף היפה שלך!
אני לא מבין כלום, תורידי את המסכה.
איזה כיף לראות אותך יפה שלי!
גם אותך, אבל את יודעת, את לא יכולה לעלות, אני בבידוד.
העיקר לראות את החתיכות הזאת!
יכולת להתקשר אליי בזום.
זה לא אותו דבר! וחוץ מזה, אני רציתי להגיד לך משהו חשוב!
נו, מה רצית להגיד?
כל הטירוף הזה, הבדידות, גרמו לי להבין שאני רוצה להיות לידך כל יום, עד אינסוף, כל החיים! איך התגעגעתי אליך, אתה החבר הכי טוב שלי!
גם את החברה הכי טובה שלי.
יאיר? Will you marry me?
וואו, לא דמיינתי את זה ככה, תכננתי להציע לך. אבל כן, פאק איט, בואי נתחתן.
אני אוהבת אותך!
גם אני אוהב אותך.
יש, אפשר להתחיל לתכנן את החתונה!
כן, אבל בסדר, ממי, לא ככה כשאת עומדת ברחוב. תחזרי הביתה ונדבר על כל הפרטים בזום, טוב?
תמרה?
לא, ממי, זה לא מה שאת חושבת, היא סתם פה, זה לא קשור.
זה בדיוק מה שאת חושבת, כמו שלימדת אותי, סיס, מה ששלך שלי!
לא, ממי, באמת לא, בבקשה. סליחה, תסלחי לי. הייתי בטוח שזאת את. ממי.
Ouch.
I love that. When we received that, I think it's about 2 a.m, something like that. And I watched most of these things as soon as I get them because I'm always really curious about other films. And I love that to bits. We spoke to them a few weeks ago. Their podcast will be coming out in a few weeks. So yeah, you can see that they're a couple that are normally based in New York, but with what was happening in New York being super intense, they were a lucky situation. They thought, right, we can go and live in Tel Aviv because they had I think it was a place there or it was a family home, something like that. And they stayed there. They're staying there until the majority of this is over. That's a very lucky position to be in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good one though, isn't it?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, so where are we? Okay. I'm going to show you another foreign language one now. This is right. Okay, I'm just going to be just one moment. I'm going to find the YouTube link for this because it's got the subtitles on. So we've got a film from France. This is one of our most popular ones within the group. Your channel. What did you edit on software-wise? Was it on your Mac or PC?
Yeah, I used that free iMovie on my MacBook. Yeah.
That's nicely done. That's really nicely done. See, this is the thing, you don't need super expensive tools to make a film. And, you know, if you compose the shot right, you light it right, I think you can achieve anything with a small phone or whatever, you know. Because I used to think about that years ago, that, oh no, I need a proper camera to actually start shooting something interesting. And I continue to think, oh, I need to get a better camera. And that's just a gear thing, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I can't pronounce the title of this one. Okay, so this is from France, this one. Okay. Share that, screen one. Okay, can you see the little spinny wheel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Allez, à l'attaque, les gars. Mais
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
Mais tiens pas.
Eh mais tu fais quoi là?
C'est pas bien de te mettre en colère comme ça. Ça me rappelle une vieille légende indienne qui dit qu'il y a une bataille éternelle, acharnée, entre deux loups à l'intérieur de nous. Le premier loup, c'est le mal. La colère, l'envie, la jalousie. La tristesse, le regret, l'avidité, l'arrogance, la honte, le rejet, l'infériorité, le mensonge, la fierté, la supériorité et l'ego. Il prend le dessus, souvent parce qu'il est fort, toujours méfiant. Il est tapis à l'oreille de ta conscience et il surveille l'autre loup, prêt à lui sauter à la gorge. L'autre loup, c'est le bien, c'est la joie, la paix, l'amour, l'espoir, la sérénité, l'humilité, la gentillesse, la bienveillance, l'empathie, la générosité, la vérité, la compassion et la foi. Il a confiance. Il sait que son heure viendra tôt ou tard, alors il attend. Il ne se montre que quand tout est calme.
Et c'est lequel qui gagne?
C'est celui que tu nourris.
But Sarah, don't you know that I love you?
Wow.
So yeah, that was quite an early one in the process. That was in our first 10, and then we just number them and categorize them. So yeah, he's quite a seasoned filmmaker with what he does. And if you look at Julian, I think it's Julian or JUL_filmmaker. He's on there, who I follow on the Instagram account, and he makes a lot of stuff with his son, which is really cool. So if they go on a bike ride, he takes all his camera gear with him.
It's awesome.
So it's nice to have him use. I'm looking to get a dog in about 10 weeks, something like that. And I've not had a pet since I was about 15, which is a long while ago. And I'm really looking forward to it. But then I realized, yeah, it's gonna be great for filmmaking as well. And then I was thinking, do I do a separate Instagram account for the little dog? And I thought, yeah, probably.
Probably.
It's going to be really well composed photos, and that's going to be another job to do. So,
What kind of dog?
All right, I'm gonna find the breed. Because I can't. This is another thing, I can't pronounce this breed either. But it sounds like Shinchon or something. I can't remember. I follow it on my thing. Have you got pets?
I do. I have a little Shih Tzu named Rocky.
Oh, that's a great name.
Yeah, I didn't name him, but
So it's a Shizon. It's SHICHON, and it looks like not a Mogwai. What, the Ewoks from Star Wars?
oh, okay, yeah.
So it has that little vibe, and I didn't want to get anything too big. I just wanted to, yeah, I thought it'd be really cool. And that's one of the reasons we had that. We're getting the flooring sorted so quickly, is because we're redeveloping the house. We didn't want it to just be lying on the concrete floor, because we wanted it to have a comfortable existence.
Yeah, for sure.
So are you looking to create more films yourself and produce more? Because it must be, on reflection of this film, of your film, it must be like generated a bit more interest and kind of pushed you to make more.
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful that you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, that I submitted to you. Like it lit a fire under me. So I'm really looking forward to the next one. And yeah, this was great. This is
what I'm trying to do. Yeah, that's awesome, and that's I'd say that's the biggest thing to come out of the festival for us as a festival is spurring people on to make more, which is great, and it's really good for showreel as well. And I'm going to probably ask the same of you, but I've asked so many people that have created films that have a little twisted ending. Oh, what happens? I almost don't want to ask you what happens at the end, but then is there going to be a sequel? So I'd always be interested to see that kind of thing, you know.
Well, I was thinking about what happens when you open the door.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to leave it in this one up to interpretation of what actually is behind the door.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's room to play. I would definitely love to do like a part 2 of this, or a longer version of it.
Yeah.
Maybe even like a prequel to.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, this possibly might age you. This is just my advice. A friend of mine made a music video a few years ago, and he made out of cardboard an oversized keyhole. So then he put the camera up against the keyhole, so it kind of masked it, and he kind of pushed into it, and he showed like obviously a lot more detail through the keyhole at the end. So it's maybe, you know, there's and the other thing that was, I think, benefited tonally was you've got quite high ceilings where you live. Is that right?
Yeah, that was another reason I wanted to do a horror movie in my apartment, because I live in one of the oldest apartments in Toronto, and
that's awesome.
Like, it's that, yeah, there's like tall ceilings, big windows, and like the doors are all very old school with the keyholes, and like, yeah, it just, the floors, like it completely lent itself to.
Yeah, and like that fireplace in the background, that kind of thing as well, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, please make more horror. Not necessarily horror, but you can like kind of tonally. I love that. It's super rich as well.
Thank you so much.
And oh yeah, well that was it. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is show you the poster that we're gonna design for your film.
Okay.
It's two designers, Tamsin and James, based in Cornwall. They're super talented. If you could bear with me, I've just got to find where I've put them. There's so I started with like 3 folders. No, it's just crazy.
I know. Congratulations. You must be so pumped too.
Oh yeah, I'm running on adrenaline. After next Saturday, I'm gonna like collapse, I think. So that's gonna be on. Is it on desktop? Oh yeah, it's gotta be this one. No, that's the rundown for the weekend. Sorry about this. I've not looked at these posters for a while. Okay, yeah. It's got to be there. Oh yeah, that was it. It's under movie posters, obviously. So yeah, the French film we just showed you. I'm going to show you the poster that we had designed for that, because it's very difficult. We'd love to design them for all the films, but it's just a sheer amount of work there is. So we've got like a curated list now. And because I've got carte blanche on control, I'm like, yes, we're having this film done. So I'll share the screen with you. I know you can see it a little bit there, but I'll share the screen. Okay. And you should be able to see it when it pops up.
Very cool.
So Tamsin did all the hand drawings for all of these posters.
Oh, wow.
And then James, a friend of hers, she goes to university with, he designed all the graphics. I put the laurel together. So this little thing here in the corner. That's something we're going to send out as well. Is that because it's the first festival ever started? We're going to send out all the laurels, so you can kind of attach it to your poster if you design. So we can actually send this poster to you. And then if you design your own poster for your film, you'll have a little PNG file that you can easily put on your film saying it's officially selected for the festival.
Beautiful.
So it's really cool, yeah. So Melissa, thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much.
And please keep in touch. And I think it was yourself that posted the little video of the rain outside. And like the rain's one of those sounds for me, like I said before about going out in the rain. it's like, oh, it's so good to watch. It's just very carving as well.
Yeah.
So, Melissa, thank you very much. You've been a rock star, and we'll keep in touch, and we'll send out. There'll be a few more details towards the end of next week, and yeah, please check out the live event next Saturday at 3 p.m. GMT. So,
Absolutely.
I think that's 10 a.m. Your side of the pond. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. So it's going to be myself, Chris, and Nadia presenting that, and there's a few little surprises in there as well.
Can't wait. Thank you so much again. This has been awesome.
Thanks so much for being on the podcast as well. Really appreciate it. And thanks for giving me the reminder that we were due to chat. Because I hadn't set it up. I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. But I thought I'd let you into that. I'd honestly forgotten because we'd scheduled so many. We've got like after next week, I think we've got another 20 over the course of 24 days, something like that. So it's crazy, and we want to give everyone a voice as well, because we enjoyed almost all the films. So yeah, thank you very much, Melissa, and you've been a rock star.
Thank you. You too.
Is there anything you want to plug, or anywhere online you want to plug at all?
Plug?
Yeah, like your social media, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure. If anybody wants to follow me and see what I'm working on next, my Instagram is Melissa Karimzadeh. Good luck trying to spell it.
At least it's memorable. When I see those emails, go, yeah, I remember that. Right, there's the M. Right, I know it's Melissa, but I can't pronounce that. Great. So thank you very much, Melissa. You've been a star, and more power to you. And I'll always be curious about what happens on the other side of that door.
I will send you Blow Me also.
Yes, please do. And if it's a public-facing film that it's online somewhere, we'll put it in the description of the film, the podcast, and your film when we come to put them on YouTube as well.
Okay, cool.
So we can kind of share that out, and we'll be really happy to do that.
You guys are awesome.
Right,
thanks again for doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure. See you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.